Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 370. When you're sick of thinking about your drinking and what that actually means. Well, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. How we doing, friends? How are we doing? How are you doing? How are you doing right now? Really, check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Feels like a lot to me. I am really living in the moment of trying to build a retreat center from across the world into a 100-year-old building, and what all of the complex, unexpected things that can happen when you take on a big project like that. And so I am here with you. I am really here with you. Also, it's February and it's been really cold and it's been icy and, it's just, we're kind of in the middle of winter and shit happening in the world. And I just imagine that there's a lot of people feeling it right now, right? And so I just want to talk about something that is very common, especially if you're working on your relationship with alcohol, blah, 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 right? That's why we're here. We're working on our relationship with alcohol. And so thank you for coming back to the podcast, by the way, and for continuing to show up for yourself and hearing and listening and applying and doing it, right? And you might be feeling tired of thinking about this, right? Just, have you thought of these thoughts? Like, I'm just sick of thinking about this. I just need a relief. I just want to escape, right? I just want to shut it off. I don't want to deal with it. It's a downer to think about it all the time. I just need a break. I'm sure at some point in your journey, you might not be there today, but you have been there before and you will get there in the future. I promise. I'm there right now. Okay? I'm there right now. And so I just want to talk to y'all who are feeling exhausted by this right now. To the ones who are thinking, I'm sick of thinking about this. I just want to stop taking up so much space in my head. I've never thought about my drinking so much. I just want a break. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And I want you to hear me clearly. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. There really isn't. It doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're losing steam. It doesn't mean that you secretly want to go back to the way you were drinking before. And it doesn't mean that all your work isn't working. Okay? So what you're feeling is actually very normal in this phase of the stage. Of the change, right? So last week we talked about the 3 phases of emotional change. If you're in phase 2, which is the longest phase, that is going to feel very normal. So here's what's actually happening. When you change your relationship with alcohol or anything that used to be automatic, you're using a lot of mental energy. Okay, you're making a lot of decisions. You're noticing urges. You're reflecting. You're being aware. You're analyzing your thinking, right? So even when those choices are good for you, your brain still gets tired. I like to think about this time that you might be in right now. I remember when I went back to work full time after having my 3rd child. Okay, so that alone is exhausting. But then I went back to work full time, and the schedule was I had to be there, and it was like a 40-minute drive from 7:30 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. I worked at a healthcare marketing agency, and the hours were 7:30 to 5:30. And so I had to leave at like 6:40 to get there on time. And then I didn't get home till like almost 6:30. So I was gone for like 12 hours. Okay. I cannot even tell you how exhausting that was because I am like trying to learn a new job. I'm sitting at a desk all day. I'm engaging with people. Like I had worked a little bit of part-time before that, but nothing like that. for a long time, for many years, like 3 or 4 years while I was having the kids. And so that was exhausting. All of that mental energy that I had to think. It was, and I remember thinking like that was not a physical exhaustion, like because I was working hard with my body. It was a mental exhaustion because I had to think through everything, how, and like being on all day, right? So this is exactly what you might be feeling like when you're evaluating and making changes, and you're noticing your thoughts, and you're making all these decisions, and you're processing your urges, right? This is very normal that your brain gets tired and it wants to escape, okay? It's called decision fatigue, and it shows up when we've been asking ourselves to be intentional for a long time, okay? And when you're thinking like, I don't want to think about this anymore, usually what that means is that you need fewer decisions, not more discipline, right? So it's like your nervous system needs to rest. It needs fewer decisions, not more grippy, white knuckly energy. Okay. And that's really important that you hear me on that, because a lot of women hear this thought. And like I said earlier when we started, that you might be losing motivation, you're losing steam, you're going to go back into your old ways, something's wrong. Or you might judge how you feel, like, I should be more grateful. I should be feeling better since I'm not drinking, or I'm drinking less, right? But that judgment, whatever that sounds like for you, actually makes this where you are potentially right now a lot heavier. And here's something else I need you guys to know. Wanting to escape doesn't really mean that you want alcohol. It just means you want relief. It doesn't mean that you want alcohol. It means that you want relief. Okay. And alcohol just used to be that off switch that was the easiest thing for you to get that relief. It was the way that you used it. You used it to quiet your mind, the way to not have to feel or think for a while, right? You used alcohol to get to that desired effect. So when life feels busy, emotional, or unresolved, of course your brain's going to think, I want to shut this off. And if you've been working at this for a while, it makes sense. But this is not a failure, though. This is just your system, your nervous system, your emotional system asking for a rest. And there's a big difference between rest and escape. Okay, escape is unconscious. Rest is intentional. So like, I just need to shut this off is unconscious. That's your brain, you buying into that primitive operating system, right? The motivational triad, seeking pleasure, avoiding pain. That's unconscious, and that's usually going to leave you down the wrong path. But rest is intentional. You're allowed to take a break from working on this without abandoning yourself. Actually, if you guys could write this down, that would be very helpful. You are allowed to take a break from working on this without abandoning yourself. And as we are in self-love month, that's what I'm calling February. If you're in my programs or working with me, you know that we're looking at how we love ourselves through all of the things. And it's okay to rest and be intentional without abandoning yourself and what is good for you. Okay, so you can watch a show, you can listen to music, you can read a book, like a fun novel, without analyzing your thoughts, right? You can go outside and go for a walk without processing your feelings and being reflective on stuff. You can have a night where the goal isn't growth, it's comfort. Okay, you can seek comfort as long as it's good for you, right? That's not going backward. That's learning how to meet yourself where you are. That's the integration part that we talked about in last week's podcast, right? So this phase right here is often the quietest and the hardest. It can feel bad, okay? The excitement is probably gone. Novelty is worn off, all of that stuff. But you also know you don't want to go back. You know that going back and drinking the way you used to isn't the way forward, right? Like that's not what you want either. And that can be so awful place to be in. It's just like some days I have days I'm just like, God, I kind of wish I could just like numb out with food or alcohol, right? But I know that that's not what I want and that it won't work. It just won't. I'll just be so aware of what I'm doing in the moment that I will get no pleasure out of that. So I don't. And so I just have to be with that. And just like, how can I treat myself nicely today? How can I love myself extra hard today? What do I actually need? Okay, that's what we need to get to. This is a transitional phase. Nothing's wrong. You're not broken. None of that stuff. Okay. But it can feel very flat and very boring and very heavy, and it can go on for a while. And that's when a lot of people think this is a downer, right? I just want my life back. Like, it's just like I should be feeling better and I'm not. And this is what I want you to know. You don't need more motivation right now. You just need more self-care and less mental load. Okay? So, try asking yourself this question. How can I make this take up less space today? How can I make this take up less space today? That's going to look like fewer decisions, simpler plans, more gentleness. This does not mean I don't have to follow my plan. Okay, so if you have 0 drinks in your plan or you have planned an intentional drink, that doesn't mean you get to adjust it. Okay, so don't turn my words into something that they are not. Okay, how can this take up less space today while honoring yourself, while loving yourself? That's the question. So you need more gentleness, more spaciousness, more allowance, right? So maybe you're not going to do a deep journal evaluation. Maybe you're not going to listen to the audiobook that you've been listening to about the alcohol. Maybe you're not going to be, diving into a workbook today. Okay. That's it. And just know that this is a temporary phase. I promise you. Just like feeling flat about anything, like, you still feel this way sometimes, even after you solve your alcohol issue. Just so you know, it's a normal human thing to just feel like not doing it and just want to check out, right? You don't need to know exactly what your relationship with alcohol needs to look like right now. You just need to know that you might need a mental break, right? So stay present with what you are feeling today. And this is not going to feel like super shiny and like dramatic and all the things. It's just like a gentleness. It's a quietness, right? It's just like, okay, I'm willing to stay the course and honor myself, but where can I give myself some mental breaks today? Where can I give myself the relief that I actually need? Okay? And if you're thinking, I just don't want to think about this anymore, that's okay. That's just information that your brain is giving you. It just means that you're tired, you're emotionally exhausted. Okay, you probably have decision fatigue of analyzing everything over and over and over again. And that's okay. Just accept that that's where you are right now. It's nothing bad is happening. You're just integrating, and it can feel hard and exhausting. You don't have to do this perfectly, okay? But you do want to keep choosing the best thing for yourself in very small, gentle ways. All right, my friends? So I'd love to know what you're going to do. If you're feeling this way, what do you feel like you need the most? I have some ideas for you. Take a bath. I know people hate hearing that, but it helps. Or a hot shower or a cold shower. Go get some fresh air without listening to anything. Okay, maybe you have a juicy romance novel you could plug in. Give yourself an escape that way. Escape in a movie. Watch a few episodes of your favorite Netflix show or go find a new one. Go read a juicy romance novel or whatever sort of smut you want to ingest. Go do that, right? Go call a friend and go out for coffee. Go walk around the mall. Like, what are things that you could give yourself that you just check out? Shopping is fun. I love to just go look at things. That can be an escape and not necessarily buy things. Like, I'll go to the thrift store or I'll go to the mall or I'll go to like a Home Goods or something like that, where I just like looking at things, like imagining things. That is an escape. But it's harmless because I'm not out purchasing a bunch of shit that I don't need. But it buys you some time. It gets you out of your house, right? You get to be stimulated by other things, right? Like looking at a lot of things. That can be very helpful. Grab a coffee, go wander, go look at some things, call up a friend, go to Costco, go to a yoga class. Like meditation can be really helpful and soft, right? Stretching your body in a gentle way. Taking a bath, put your feet up the wall. Your nervous system, think nervous system reset here. Think mental, emotional system reset. So like I've talked about this before, but like your little nerves that are all running through your body, like they're very exposed right now because you're learning new things and your brain is getting rewired, and it's just like can feel so intense. And so what would be soothing for your nervous system right now? What would feel good? And I promise alcohol is not the answer. Alcohol is going to keep fraying those ends of your nervous system. It's going to not have the effect that you want. So stay away from alcohol, but there's other things that you can do to escape. I gave you plenty of ideas. All right, my friends, and keep coming back to it. All right, keep coming back to it so you can build that trust with yourself. But if you need to scale back a little bit, that's okay too. I hope this resonates, and this is the time where people probably need the most accountability and support. So if you're considering working with me at a higher touch level with a Magic House retreat or private coaching, I'm still having conversations with people through the clarity calls. I'm going to put the link for that in the show notes for you to check that out. But having somebody on your side and having a commitment that you are working on this and you're not giving up is very, very helpful to get you through this phase that you might be in. All right, my friends, sending you so much love. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.